In the news this week, federal government introduces anti-fraud technology. Nigerians react. Robots aim to disarm Nigerian snakes. Ahead of 2019 elections, Budget Office unveils program for incumbents. And now, it's the other news.
And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
All right. Yeah, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of The Other News. Valentine's Day has come and gone, so it's okay for all your demons now to switch on your phones and come out of your hiding. Yeah. If you're not happy with your Valentine's Day gift, just remember that a cheap singlet is better than nothing. As for those of you who are still hoping to receive gifts after Valentine, maybe your own will be next year. Maybe. My guest today is a social entrepreneur and founder of Rice Networks. It's the phenomenal Toyosi Akerele in the building. Please a round of applause for her. Yeah. We'll speak to her and serve you a whole lot more in a moment. But first, as usual, is the other news headlines. Kenyan and Ethiopian runners won the top prizes at the recently concluded Lagos City Marathon. It's surprising we didn't win in a city like Lagos where people like to run for nothing. Well, but Nigeria has emerged the winner of the Africa Wrestling Championships. Yeah, that tournament was held in Port Harcourt. You know, a fighting competition in Port Harcourt, the land of Wike and Amici. How we not going to win? How we not going to win for there? All right. President Muhammadu Buhari has ordered security agencies to stay several steps ahead of criminals at all times. The other news has obtained exclusive footage of security agencies complying with that presidential directive.
Hey! Why are you running? Why are you running?
Trust police once they see armed robbers. Ahead. Yeah. All right. Still on crime and security, two men aged 65 and 50 years old have been arraigned before a magistrate court in Osogbo for stealing 6 chickens belonging to a former senator. Well, asked why they stole the senator's chicken, the suspect said, first to do, no they pain. Anyway, 3 lecturers of University of Maiduguri who had been hostages of Boko Haram since have been released to the federal government. There's no word yet on whether the lecturers were released for free or if Boko Haram collected a small sorting. I mean ransom. Yeah. Well, still on Boko Haram, the group's leader, Abubakar Shekau, says he's tired. Guy, not only you, this Nigeria, it can frustrate anybody. Myself, I tire. Shekau, you know what? I have an idea. Let us go to Libya and never come back. But just be going, and then you're back. To other matters now. Robbers have attacked them. There have been nasty fights in them. The roofs are leaking, and the doors have started falling off. No. I'm not talking about the typical face me and slap you apartment, but about airlines operating in Nigerian airspace. After all, I mean, what have planes not suffered in Nigeria from lack of power? To lack of jet fuel.
While the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority insists that it has no proof that household kerosene is being sold in place of Jet A1.
Yeah, to cows and herdsmen being in the wrong place at the wrong time. To people who smuggle contraband. Oh, as for the fights are epic. Forget about setting a new national airline. Nigeria itself is the most problematic aircraft that you can ever imagine. There have been so many negative stories coming out of the Nigerian aviation sector recently that the only people who feel safe to fly are the ones who do not need a boarding pass. Nigerian air travel is the perfect metaphor for the state of our nation. First, they use the words like change and transformation to get you to buy ticket at a very high price. Then you get to the airport, they delay your flight. Or in the case of Nigeria, our destiny. Then you get on board, and they welcome you on board with a smile like, you know, everything will be fine.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
But just as you're relaxing into your seats, the blues music will turn into reggae. Then they start scaring you and preparing you for the worst by saying things like, well, in the event of an emergency, you know the rest. Well, the pilots or our leaders are far away from the people in their cozy cockpits, like Aso Rock. They can't even hear our cries. So, as the plane makes a very bumpy takeoff, you say your prayers and begin to wonder whether anyone is really in control or if this aircraft called Nigeria is just on autopilot. Meanwhile, back here in the poor people's side of the plane, we are left at the mercy of the air stewards, as governors who are about as nice as Nigerian nurses.
Little respect for constituted authority, no matter what.
That is to say, not nice at all. Well, their job is to make sure you are all right and serve you meals. But these so-called meals are much smaller than what you paid for. So you ask for water and they put 2 drops in a tiny cup and give you. Do I look like Lazarus? Anyway, and you don't hear from the pilots until the plane enters turbulence and starts dancing shaku shaku at 30,000 feet. Sometimes the pilot won't even talk to you directly. Nah, no time. They don't get that time. They will send the first officer to announce that it's just a little turbulence.
The president, just as we have heard from the vice president, is fit.
And the only time the pilot will really talk to you willingly is when the flight is about to land.
I also want to assure the people of the North Central and indeed all Nigerians that the federal government is working day and night to ensure peace and stability returns.
Yes, alias towards the end of 4-year term when they need your votes again. Well, as we land after another 4-year flight, may our plane avoid potholes, falling doors, and cows having their lunch. I hope you have enjoyed your flight on Air Niger. No, not really. Well, don't worry. You'll be back. Nigerians will love being taken for a ride. Okay. My guest today is a truly phenomenal woman. She's a social entrepreneur and a human development expert, plus many, 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 many more. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Toyosi Akerele. A big round of applause. I just have a hug. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Save that second one for me. I'll take it after the show. Okay. Yeah. I know too many great things have been happening.
If you say so.
Lots of great things. I've been hearing lots of good news. Yeah. We describe you, lots of people describe you as a social entrepreneur and a human development expert.
It's time
Please
to move on.
Help Nigerians understand that bit about you.
I mean, social entrepreneurship is pretty much an entrepreneur who focuses on impact rather than the financial pecuniary rewards that come out of entrepreneurship. However, because it's important to have integrity and not dip your hands into the funding that is given to your organization to do good work, you have to understand that you are not for profit, but you're also not for loss. As a young person in Nigeria, one of the most crucial, things that are missing in our, country is quality leadership. And if you want to become a banker, you train to become a banker. You want to become a lawyer, you train to become a lawyer. I'm hoping that at some point in my life in this country, I would be, given the privilege to serve my people. And I'm just preparing myself basically to learn international best practice, learn what other people are doing in other countries.
We'll dig into it after the break. We'll take this break and we'll try to talk about it. the other news. We'll hear from our correspondent, Dan D Humorous, a little later on. But we are still talking to my very special guest, Toyosi Akerele. Toyosi. Yes.
I'm here.
Whoa, only you. I envy you and your ability to, you know, study and prepare and prepare.
No need to.
Okay. Rise Networks, what is it about? I mean, how will that change Nigeria and stop all these currency-consuming snakes from happening in Nigeria?
I mean, by the way, on Twitter, the snake who had 36 million at the Jamb office already has a wife right now. So.
Oh, whoa, that snake is married.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
But Rise Networks is primarily a youth development organization that focuses around the intersection of how innovation would affect, you know, the opportunities, the learning opportunities of young people and youth inclusion in politics and, you know, development around education and the economic empowerment of young people. Wow. We believe that one of the reasons why, I mean, Professor Femi Oshofiso said that in the same situation, in a situation where the same mind clamors for bread and books, bread will always win. So when we continue to pummel the youth and say that young people are into crime, young people are into vices, the truth is when you look at Nigerian young people side by side, young people in other countries, the kind of opportunities that we're not getting in this country, with the kind of opportunities we're not getting and the kind of impact that young people are making, one should give our generation some credit. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the people who put Nigeria on the map globally in this country are young people. Many young people.
And they've been given so little.
And we've been given so little. Yeah. We're relegated to the background in politics. Countries are putting young people in strategic positions of authority so they can make a difference. Nigerian politicians are reducing young people
and dead people. You know, we're positioning old people, now we're positioning dead people.
Politicians don't think that we're good enough beyond the positions of special assistants who carry their bags. And I'm angry with the young people because we're not taking enough action.
So you've seen too many great people, you know, and too many famous people. Apart from myself, which one stands out?
It absolutely has to be Hillary Clinton. She's my total hero.
So you're with her?
Yes, and Hillary Clinton is a forerunner for many of us. For many other women who aspire to higher, you know, service and leadership in public service, I think what she's done is to fuel the fire in many of us, that it's actually possible for a woman to go that far. I can tell you that there are so many brilliant women in this country.
We know.
We just need to help them develop more courage. More younger women need to pay more attention to the men, just to the women, to the younger girls. That's why when I walked into this place, the first thing that I said was to help the young people. Yeah. They're teenagers, smart, incredible. I mean, at the end of the day,
I'm sure
through generations, we need to invest in our human capital. We need to build a knowledge and skill-driven economy. The worst way to hell cannot be the tunnel that you enter from an airplane into the international airport into Nigeria, and where you then going through the most dirtiest latrines in the world. And you wonder when our political leaders travel, whether they learn anything. So the truth is that you need to understand that Nigerian politics and the entire system is a carefully tended pet in the hands of the political class. Yeah. Nigeria works for them, it doesn't work for the rest of us. Yes. And that's the reason why for every opportunity that we get, we must stop blaming young people. We must give, and young people must learn that nobody's going to give us a chance. Nigeria needs 5 crucial things. Leadership is number 1. The second is effective institutions. Yeah. The third one is infrastructure. The fourth is active citizens. And the fifth is that accountable government at the local, state, and federal level.
Based on all this, Toyosi, I will add to that list, Nigeria needs a female president. Maybe the men have disappointed us.
I don't think it's about having a female president, Egbon. I think that it is more about having a president with competence, character, and capacity. If you give me a woman is not enough, all right? If you give me a woman who is as bad as, we've seen a few women, and don't forget that women rarely get opportunities for high-level leadership. So the few that have gone ahead of us and ruined those opportunities, every time the stereotypes work against us. They'll point and say, oh, she stole money, oh, she was corrupt, oh, she didn't do this well. And you forget that as a woman, when you get up there and you don't perform, you shut the door against an entire generation of other women. So it's not just about being a woman. It's about being a woman who understands economics and finance, who understands public infrastructure, who understands policy, who understands youth development, who understands job creation, so that when you sit on that place and you're debating with men, you would not be given the opportunity because you're a woman. You're given the opportunity because you are ready and
you have something to offer
for that leadership.
Toyosi, wow. I'm sure lots of young women, even older women listening to you, will be highly motivated. And you see, you're spewing all this.
Motivation is not sustainable. People need to get up and move.
You're spewing all this wisdom, and you know, and you're not even 40 yet.
I'm 34.
Yeah, you see, and you're what motivates you?
Well, just because the diamond was a chunk of coal that stuck to its job and made good under pressure. I just want Nigeria to be a better country. Look, tell you what, I've traveled around the world. Nigeria is the only place where I feel that I own the space.
Same here.
And therefore, I don't want to be a second. I'd rather be a first-class version of myself than be a second-class version of somebody else.
So it's been amazing. It's been amazing talking
Nigeria
to you. I'm sure we will do this interview again. I'm sure you're one of those guests that people will tweet, write, and say, we want Toyosi back on the show. Hopefully. And we'll do it some other time, promise.
Thank you so much.
Nice talking to you. Nice talking to you. To other matters on the African continent now, Jacob Zuma, alias Jay-Z, became president of South Africa in 2009. And in the 9 years that followed, it's been a feisty love affair between the African National Congress and Jay-Z. In fact, you could say that after forcing Mbeki with the good hair out of power, the ANC was Jacob Zuma's Beyonce. And the party loved Zuma so much that it protected him from corruption probe after corruption probe. And it also protected him from his former political godson, Julius Malema, who left the ANC and formed his own party, the EFF, which does not hesitate to tell Jacob Zuma exactly how they feel about him. And while Jay-Z was allegedly messing around with the Guptas with the good hair, the ANC started getting jealous. So the members elected one of South Africa's richest men to lead the party.
We declare Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa as the new president of the African National Congress.
Zuma was still president of South Africa, but the clock was ticking. And since Valentine's Day is a good time for people to reassess their relationships and maybe dump Bay, it was no surprise when this news came out of South Africa.
I have therefore come to the decision to resign as President of the Republic with immediate effect.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are witnessing the end of the Jacob Zuma era. Jacob Zuma is the most Nigerian politician South Africa has ever seen. Jacob Zuma is bold and unapologetic. He used to eat scandal for breakfast and wash it down with nkomboti. Well, when he was accused of raping a young lady, Zuma said he simply had sex with her out of a sense of duty as a Zulu man. When asked if he was not worried he would contact HIV or AIDS from unprotected sex, he merely said, well, I took a shower afterwards. When required to declare his assets after entering office, he resisted. Sounds familiar? Yeah. Well, Zuma was found to have illegally used public funds to renovate Nkadla, his family home in the village. Hey, what's wrong with the president? I mean, pimping his crib at public expense? We are used to it here. Well, some South Africans did not find it funny, though. Hey, it's a miracle that Jacob Zuma survived this long. He is the political agile cat with 9 lives and about as many wives. We'll be watching what happens in South Africa very closely. But if Jay-Z needs a place to escape to, he can always come home here in Nigeria. After all, we'll have his statue here in his honor. All right. Still to come, what has got our correspondent D Humorous Bia in a twist this time? Well, find out when the other news returns. You are still watching the other news. Our constantly complaining correspondent, Daniel Humorous, has found another reason to raise his blood pressure. Well, Dan, just get it off your chest, eh? We are here for you. Well, okay, I will disappoint you in this one. Woo! I am happy. And why am I happy? Because of this.
We've been able to dislodge the Boko Haram from some parts of the Camp Zero camps. In the Camp Zero is a very big place, so there are various camps in the Camp Zero area. We've been able to dislodge them completely out of those places.
Woo! That means we can now all sing, the war is over! War is over now. Well, hold on. This is not the first time we are hearing this gist, though. Each time we hear that Boko Haram has been defeated, the next day, boom, we'll hear attack. Check. In August 2013, they told us that Abubakar Shekau has been killed. In September, that same year, Abubakar Shekau carried out an attack, claimed responsibility for it, and even released a video saying, brother, are they here? Boko Haram seems to be behaving like that stubborn poop that never goes away. You flush and flush and flush and it still comes back. Brother, are they here? In September 2014, they said Abubakar Shekau was killed in a battle in Konduga. In fact, the military spokesperson at the time, Major General Chris Olukolade, said the original Shekau has died since, so that this one is another Shekau. So we call him Shekau Remix. Then again now, in that same year, 2014, in October, the federal government said they had reached a ceasefire agreement with Boko Haram. In November, Shekau released another hit single titled No Be Me Una Follow the Agreement. You can't be shocked, say, even Boko Haram has faction like PDP and APC. Then again, in 2016, Army spokesman Usman Kukasheka said, hey, they have killed Boko Haram commanders. And in fact, Abubakar Shekau was wounded in his shoulder. They even know where they wound him. And the next thing, he released video. Brother, I still there here. How come this man keeps releasing videos every time? Is it Tupac that releases music from the dead? It's shocking. Now, this present government in 2015 said Boko Haram has been technically defeated. In 2017, Lieutenant General Buratai said Boko Haram has been defeated but not completely eliminated, aka partially defeated. Then the following month, in February, the United Nations Secretary for Political Affairs, Jeffrey Feltman, said Boko Haram is broke. That is another way of saying they have been economically defeated. Now, Theater Commander Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Nicholas Rogers, has said Boko Haram has been completely defeated. Hey! Hey! Let this completely be completely complete, oh. Because this one we have not heard from CAN or PFM or Supreme Council of Islamic Affairs or even native doctors that they have been spiritually defeated. Let us not see Shekau now come and release another brother a day here. Oh. Please, federal government, let us take your word for this for real, that Boko Haram has been finally defeated. So we can expect the remaining Chibok girls, so that the IDPs can now be completely rehabilitated and relocated, and peace and prosperity can return to the Northeast. So, bearing that they have been completely defeated, no need for the $1 billion again now. They don't do the work. Okay? Don't be so. Well done. If you ask me, now who I go ask? All right, people, that's our show for today. You have been a wonderful audience as always. Remember, you can be a part of our live studio audience by calling the numbers on your screen. I look forward to seeing you. Also follow, like, and subscribe on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube using our handle, The Other News CTV. Our people say you cannot keep a goat with a tuber of yam. And in fact, forget about proverb. If you see a snake, hide your millions. See you same time next week. My name is Okey. Smile, you will feel better. Love you.